meal prepping. I'm sure you've all heard of it. Should you do it? Shouldn't you do it? I know everyone thinks that like all the big athletes meal prep, meal prep, meal prep. If you want to be a lifter, you should meal prep. If you want to be a lean swimmer, you should meal prep, right? That's what we hear. But should you meal prep? Really, it's a preference, but today I'm going to be discussing the pros and cons of meal prepping. So check it out. What's going on, beautiful people, and welcome back to Hustling and Healing. Woo! For those of you just joined me, what's up? My name's Bree, and I am the content creator of this channel, Hustling and Healing, and welcome! It's Wednesday, which means it's Wellness Wednesday, woo! If you couldn't tell from the intro clip, what we're going to be talking about today are the pros and cons of meal prepping. I know all of us have heard that term, meal prepping, whether or not they've done it themselves or they've watched other people do it, they know people who do it, but I'm going to give you my personal pros and cons of meal prepping. So let's dive right into it. So, first up, the pros, because we always want to start with the good. So, you have meals for an entire week. That's pretty dope, especially if you're a really busy person. I know nurses who live and die by meal prepping because that's literally the only time they can ensure that they'll have meals during their shifts. So, if you're a super busy person, you have that one day a week where you can cook all that food for yourself, then meal prepping might be for you. And you're able to craft all your meals ahead of time to fit your macros. No scrolling through menus online while you're trying to figure out where you want to eat to see what's going to fit in your macros and how much protein you need to get in this one meal to hit. You don't need to do that. You already pre-calculate all that and you cooked accordingly. And it also saves you preparation during mealtime. So like when it's lunchtime, instead of thinking like, oh, let me pull up the smoothie bowl menu from 2 doors down, what you can do is you take your meal out the fridge and then pop it in the microwave, and now you got your meal, and that saved you so much time, and now you have more time to groan during your lunch break and power yourself through to the rest of your shift. And finally, it combats indecision about what to eat, because if you already know what you're going to eat, you already planned it, you don't have to worry about being indecisive about what you're going to be eating because you already made it. You already have it in the container, and it's there for you to eat. So those are the pros. And moving on to the, I don't want to say cons, but cons for the sake of the duality of pros and cons, the cons of meal prepping. So, you have to devote lots of time on one day a week so that you can meal prep. Meal prepping takes a lot, especially if you're someone who needs to eat a lot of protein, because you gotta make sure that meat's cooked, and if you're doing anything other than chicken or fish, you gotta, cooking pork and beef can be a little tricky if you don't know what you're doing. So you gotta make sure that you can get that situated in that one day so that you have the ease for the rest of the week. So if you're willing to devote 3-4 hours to meal prep in one day, then that's good, but most people aren't really willing to do that. Or let me not say most. Some people aren't really willing to do that. So that can be a con. And then another con is that the meals can get repetitive. If you've been eating the same thing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you're probably going to be like, I really want some French fries and a burger. And that can be a problem because that can lead to indecision and kind of cause you to want to stray from what you meal prep, because you may have the desire to eat something else because you've been eating the same thing daily. And then finally, depending on how far in the week you are, the meals may feel like or taste like they're losing a little bit of their freshness. It may taste a little off. You feel like you got to add some extra seasoning, some extra flair to it to kind of like give it some life. So that could be a con as well. And finally, which one is best for you? I know personally it changes by week for me. So sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna meal prep the heck out of this week. And then other times I'm like, I want chicken nuggets on Monday. And then Tuesday comes and I think I want chicken nuggets again, but really I want shrimp and things along those lines. So if you're like me and you're super indecisive about what you want, maybe meal prepping is not for you. But meal prepping might be for you if you don't have a lot of time during the week to cook. So again, for all those super busy essential workers out there who may not have all this time, and even maybe not essential workers, you just don't have a whole lot of time, meal prepping might be a good thing for you. And if you don't mind eating the same thing day in and day out, Because a lot of people see food as just fuel for the body. So if you're just shoveling in, don't mind the taste of it, or that you've had that same taste for a couple of days, meal prepping is definitely for you. And finally, if pre-planning your macros saves you a lot of stress, that is super important because a lot of people will get super stressed out about hitting their macros or getting close, and sometimes you just won't hit it. But if you meal prep, you can pre-plan that and make sure you get everything that you need macro-wise. So that saves both time and stress. So yes, you should meal prep if you fall into any of those categories. And is meal prepping for you? Maybe you shouldn't meal prep if you don't mind cooking daily. I personally love to cook and I love switching things up. So if I have the time during the week, I'm gonna try and cook daily because it's just something that brings me joy. It's something I enjoy to do. And if you like eating something different every day, I'm often guilty of this. I can eat leftovers 3 days a week and be dope and like be a-okay, but some people cannot do that. Or some people just want to switch it up, and that's okay. So maybe you shouldn't really meal prep if that's the case. And finally, if you value freshness over the ease of something being pre-prepared, then maybe you shouldn't meal prep, because if you want things fresh, you're going to have to make it daily to make sure you optimize that freshness. So that's it. Those are the pros and cons of meal prepping. If you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that bell down there to get notifications about my next video. If you're interested in following me on other forms of social media, I am on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and of course, YouTube. And finally, if you're interested in other forms of content that I post, I do post 3 times a week. That is Monday, Mo Money Monday, that's hustling, so that's all about finances. Today, Wednesday, Wellness Wednesday, it's all about physical well-being. And Sunday, Self-Love Sundays, that's healing, that's all about mental and emotional well-being. So, thanks so much for tuning in. This was Wellness Wednesday and the pros and cons of meal prepping. So I hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday wherever you are, and I'll see you on Sunday for Self-Love Sunday. Have a great night, all. Bye!